Right guys, so in this week's episode we're going to be covering some more formal retrieving here with little Honey. So in the last episode you saw us hunting to find a retrieve, which is to stimulate the dog to hunt. We're going to start to teach pattern through that, but then we've got our formal retrieving, which is where you'll see me doing heel work, sit work, you'll see me using my training leads. We're putting all those bits together. Now, I'm always saying at the beginning with these dogs, you don't need a lot of space. I'm just using my small back garden here, and I can get quite a lot done here, so you don't need lots of space. The big mistake a lot of people make at the beginning is they're trying to do too long of retrieves and they're not focusing on having good structure in and around them. So that's what we're going to be doing today. If you're looking for any training products, by the way, go through to our Facebook page, Spaniel Training Kit, where you can order puppy kits, all bits and bobs, leads, dummies, everything you see me using in any of my videos is available on my Facebook page, Spaniel Training Kit. Also, if you're looking for any help, maybe you've got a new puppy or getting a puppy soon and you're looking for some help and guidance, then it might be worth looking at doing my online training, which is all done directly through WhatsApp, working directly with me. Anyway, let's get this little monkey going and we'll get some training done. Right guys, so I'm going to try to show you a little bit of retrieving that I've been doing. I am doing more advanced stuff than this at the moment. I don't get an awful lot of time to make these videos, which I apologise for, but I'm going to show you some very basic stuff that I have been doing. And I've been doing, as I said, some slightly more advanced stuff beyond this, but rather than going straight into what I've been doing right up to date, I'm going to show you a few steps, all stuff I've covered before, but I obviously never know when people are coming in. So we're going to be combining some retrieving with some heel work and some sit work. So all the time you see me using these training leads, the dogs are learning to have to do the heel, the sit, all the other bits, like messing around like that. I'm able to intervene and stop that. Okay, so we're going to do a very basic retrieve. Now, one of the things that I'm doing at the moment is I'm not too worried about the delivery. As long as I get the retrieve back nice, I can make her sit when she comes in. But when I'm doing quite a formal retrieve, I don't want to make it too formal and knock all the fun out of it. So I've been throwing a retrieve down. I'm going to turn her and walk away. I'm going to try and stay on camera here. Good girl, get her to keep up with me. I'm going to walk back towards retrieve, sit up, and then I'm actually going to put a little stop whistle in first because this is what I do. Back, and then I'm going to send her. Okay, that was a back command, by the way. So back means to run away from me. Here you go. Good girl, honey. Good girl. I'm hoping the audio will be a bit better this time, guys. The left hand lead, right hand retrieve. I can take the retrieve off the dog. I'm immediately back at heel and I've got the dog sat. I haven't got the dog doing laps of me to get control of it again, which is great. So I'm going to do one more like that. So I'm going to make sure she's sat. I'm going to throw it out, leave that. I'm going to turn, walk away. Ooh, try not to trip over her. Walk back. Sit whistle. Come on in. Sit up. Now, I like eye contact. A lot of people don't do this, but it's something I do. Now, because she went to go there, I'm going to start again. Good girl. Sit. Back. And then I'm going to send her. So again, hopefully she's going to come up. Good. So we've got the neighbour's dog wanting to be on our YouTube channel. Good, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to take that off her. Bring her around. Sit up. So once I've got a very basic out and back retrieve, that's what I call the basic routine. I go straight into teaching a back retrieve. That's when the dog's facing you and turning and going back. And I'm going to talk you through that now. I don't do lefts and rights until I can send the dog back on either hand. And when I first start doing this, I'm looking to walk the dog out, sit the dog up. I'm going to put the retrieve down like that. No, sit. A lot of dogs, because they know I'm going to turn now, that's why she got up. So I'm going to turn her away, walk back a bit, sit her up by my side, and she must have her back to the retrieve. I'm going to turn and face her, sit. She must be dead straight. And I'm going to get her to turn, because I'm using my right hand, I want her to turn towards that fence to go back. And I start off by, I'm going to show you how I start off doing it. It's literally like this. That's how I do it. Good girl. Good girl. Come here. Good girl. So as soon as I do that, I'm going to show you it slightly sped up. So I'm going to bring her around onto the spot, set her up, because she can do this. I'm going to put the retrieve behind her again. Now the bit, as I said, is really important, is that the dog is dead straight. I want to use my left hand this time. So, see, she's getting a bit keen. Come around. Good girl, here. Sit. This is the great thing about the lead. If they go, you can just stop them. So I'm going to use my left hand side. Go on then. See, she turn around to go that way. Good girl. Good girl. Well done. So normally when I teach this with my clients at first, I get them to do it where they walk out, place the retrieve down like I'm going to show you. So you've got practice, chance for practice sit, turn into the retrieve, the heel, make her sit again, turn and face her. But once you can do this, you can speed it up by just throwing the retrieve over their head, but they are then inclined to try and spin around and face it. So I'm just going to straighten her up because she's not quite straight. sit, split. Now over time, this hand's going to come higher and higher and higher. So at the moment, when you first start, you're down here low by the ground to try and help the dog to turn, see, the direction you want the dog to go. But as they get better, this hand's going to come round and eventually you're going to be going back like that. Okay, so I'm going to put the retrieve behind her again. I'm going to take a little step to the left, and then I just tend to make a little whistle mouth noise with my mouth, and I tend to click my fingers at first. Good girl, good girl. And as soon as I can do one side, I do the other side. So let's do that again. And use the retrieve almost as a carrot. So I'm going to put the retrieve behind her. Okay, it's gone a bit to the right now, so I'm going to bring her across so that she's in a straight line. I want a nice straight line. Okay, now the next stage is I put a stop whistle in. I'm going to do that first now. So back, and then I say back. Now, often people ask me why I do that when the dog is already sat. And it's because, and I've covered this before, this is setting the dog up to recognize the sequence of movements at a much more advanced level. You've got to remember you're going to be splicing bits to get training together. So for example, you might have done a straight send or a memory or a blind, and you've got to imagine you just stopped the dog and now you're going into another maneuver. And that's where you're picking up from. You're going to put the retrieve back out, make sure she's watching. It's out behind her, sit. I'm going to put a stop whistle in. Now, a lot of dogs, and she does this at the moment, is when I blow the whistle and I move, she thinks I'm sending her, but it doesn't mean go. So I'm going to give her a little tug, back. So quite often I'll end up counteracting the dog. Good girl, good girl. Now I know that a lot of dogs, when I bring my hand up and I blow a whistle, the dog goes to move. So I'm ready to give the dog a little tug as if to say, no, I didn't say send. That means sit, wait, and pay attention. Okay, so I'm going to put the retrieve back out again. Okay, so again, this dog must be straight. She's not allowed to sit. Well, she's already learning to sit straight, which is great. But she's not allowed to sit, I'll show you whether I've done it that way or like that. She must be dead straight. Okay, back. See, already I can put my hand a lot higher with her. Good girl, good girl, good girl. Faffing a bit there, aren't you? Okay, so I'm going to sit her back up again. I'm going to put the retrieve out behind her. See how she moved there, but actually she sort of straightened herself up after that. And I'm just going to call her towards me and then sit her up, sit, just to straighten her up with that. So stop whistle, and let's expect her to move because she probably will. Back. Okay, she was all right. Good girl, come on. Good girl. Lovely. Good girl. So, once you've taught that, and that might take quite a few weeks, don't underestimate that. I made that look very, very quick and easy, but that's probably going to take quite a few weeks for the dog to recognise the difference between your left and your right hand and which way to turn. Once I have got them understanding how to turn the direction I want, I will then go into left and right. What I find is if you do the left and rights first and then you do this, it's more confusing for them. So when we're doing a left and a right, so I'm going to sit her up here. When you first start doing a left and a right, all you're looking to do is sit the dog facing the same way, but this time I like to use a fence line. And we're going to chuck a retrieve out. If the dog is sat a metre out from the fence, the retrieve must land a metre out from the fence. Hey, pay attention, thank you. It's out to the left there. Okay, so I'm going to start with a stop whistle again. Saying that, when you first start, I tend to just stand a bit like this and I go like that. Just want to get the dog recognising the sequence and the movement first. So I was about to miss that out, wasn't I? So bring it back round. So I can do the same on the other side. I'll throw it out to the left. Again, stop whistle. Sorry, not stop whistle because I'm showing you the bit before that. So you stand right in front of the dog and then just lean and push the dog. And if you've done back retrieves up to now, they normally find this pretty easy because this is much easier than back retrieves. So the next stage is I can throw my dummy out. I can put my stop whistle in. We're going to drop our hand to our hip and then we're going to push out from our hip. We're not going to cut this corner out here. It's a stop whistle. Again, classic one. Dog thinks stop whistle is the prelude to send. Well, it sort of is, but it doesn't mean go. I'm just going to straighten her up and then I'll lean to the side. So that command always needs to come off. Whoop, here you go, honey. Always needs to come, I don't know, about between a second and 2 seconds after you give the stop whistle, no longer than that. Sit. I'm going to put one out to the left. Stop whistle again. Good girl. Good girl. Now once, honey, stop messing around. Right, once they can do one, sit. Once they can do singles, one on each side. Zip up. And then we're going to do a double. So I put one out to the right, one out to the left, and I always pick the one that I threw first. Sorry, I always pick the one that I threw first. Okay, like that. And then I step forward to meet the dog coming back, honey, because it's quite common if you don't step forward and meet them, they'll run straight past you and then try and pick the other one over there. I'm going to put that one out now, leave that, and then I can do that one. So can I come forwards to intercept the dog coming back to me? Good girl. Again, I can actually make her sit, and she will hold. It's just when I'm doing lots of volume of retrieving at this early stage, I don't worry about it. I will get her sitting nicely later on. So a couple more, put that out to the left, high stop, and then I push to the right. Good girl, good girl. She's a bit distracted by next door because they've done some building work, so I think there's some smells there. So one more, I'm gonna put that one back outside. Bit distracted, aren't you? And then that one. So again, stepping forward to block that one behind me. Good girl. Starting to faff a bit now. Hey, thank you. That is way more, just to let you know, guys, that is way more than I normally do. I probably do half that amount, and I probably only do that 5 days a week, 5 minutes, 5 days a week. The only thing is I would normally work at a much quicker pace. And I don't have to stop and think what I'm doing. I'm just like bosh, bosh, bosh. So often with the older dogs, you see it in some of my other videos where they actually end up confused because I'm slowing everything down and they don't recognize the sequence in the same way. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe and like, guys. Any questions, stick them in the description below. Otherwise, happy training.